Okay, so Off the Shelf by Stratagemata War Game Company, we have Bloody Steppes of Crimea 1854, Alma, Balaclava, and Inkerman. And I'm looking at a tiny little division-on-division action from the Balaclava scenario. Alright, for movement, the Russian formation here, I'm going to walk through one of these and then move everybody. But what's important here is we have cavalry in skirmish formation. Cavalry in skirmish formation. What's his movement potential? Yeah, that's the influence of La Bataille. So we got infantry up in here. Down here's cavalry in skirmish formation. Formation cost in movement points 1, stock MPs 10. Other than that, strength point limit per hex 3. Strength in the melee combat stack strength points. Okay, so has a movement allowance of 10. And then we have terrain effects chart. We have infantry or cavalry in skirmish formation. Step is 1. And then we have down here we have up 1 level is +0 for infantry or cavalry in skirmish. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see, 4. And then 5. And then let's go 6 there. Yeah, let me check on something. Okay, so the Russian cavalry unit in skirmish formation moved into the zone of control of this infantry unit. That's because down here we have a -1/0. That tells me that this infantry unit can fire out 2 hexes, and that is also its zone of control. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 5 hexes are its zone of control. So Russian unit moves in there. There's infantry fire as a reaction. So let's see, we'll go through that. If the unit survives this reaction fire, they can continue moving if they have movement points remaining. So I'm going to put a 6 here to remind me that the cavalry have used 6 of their 10 movement points. Infantry fire. This unit can perform this reaction fire during enemy movement. Now here's an example of the funny English translation. So fire combat is performed only by the unit standing on top of a stack. All right, but if there were 2 infantry units stacked like that, the fire's from the top unit in the stack. So stacking order matters. We are not firing during their own the British are not firing during their own activation. They can only shoot at a target in the unit's ZOC. I already talked about the ZOC there. As a reaction on enemy movement, this is what we're doing. The enemy may fire only 1 volley, okay, per enemy activation. Yeah, that means that while the 16th Division here is acting, this unit can only conduct reaction fire once. Yeah. Infantry may fire only when they are in a formation which allows them to use firearms. That's again the white numbers on the black there indicate that they have fire capability in this formation. Flip them over to their column side. They don't have those numbers, meaning that in column they can't do fire combat, I believe. So again, I already told you, because there is a number and not a dash. Why would there... No, there is a dash. Nope, there is a dash. So there's not a dash here, though. So they can fire out 2 hexes. Their modifier is going to be 0. It's -1, which is good. -1 for 1 hex away. 0 for 2 hexes away. We have a bunch of modifiers. I think that's just what we're going to do. This sounds simple. I guess maybe it sounds simple. It's really not simple because of this. There are a lot of modifiers. I guess in this sense it kind of reminds me of the Death Ride series. But let's see. So here we have the infantry fire chart. Okay, and that goes here to the infantry fire modifiers chart. Probably not a lot of these are going to apply, but let's see how many do. Target terrain modifier, it's clear. It's stepped. There shouldn't be any. But where are they? They are terrain effects on combat. It's in, by infantry fire, artillery fire, infantry melee, cavalry melee. Yeah, it's nothing. As you would expect. Firing unit strength modifier. Let's find out. So I'm looking at the unit 79th CA, 79 CH. So I'm looking at the order of battle here for 79 CH is right there, which is actually a very strong unit. It's the strongest British unit there is. 9. Okay, so that is good. 7 plus is -1. Again, minus is good. We want low numbers. So we have -1. Target formation modifier. It's not an assault column or square. It is in line, which is just 0. Okay. Target type unit modifier. It is firing at cavalry. Oh, it is cavalry. -1. So now we have -2. Distance modifiers on the counter, it's 0. That's the second number for range 2. Firing from flank and rear. So -2. -2. That's funny that there's no modifier for... Oh, that's too bad. Rolled a 10. Oh, man. Alright. But... Oh, wait, -2. No, still doesn't. I'll show how this works. So... Unfortunately, high number, good in some games, not good in this one. So it's 10 minus 2 is 8. The morale of the firing unit is the 8 on the red circle there. So we know the fire has a morale of 8, which is interesting. I'm not sure I've seen, I don't remember seeing this before. But on this infantry fire chart, we're cross-indexing the morale of the firing unit with so the best possible morale. Never mind. I think the 0 is a 0. Let me just verify that. That would make this a 0, not a 10. Okay, a 0 means a 0. So this is good. So wow, that's really good. Oh my, we have the best possible result. We have 0 -2, but it's modifies lower than 0 is treated as 0, so it's 0 with 8 morale. That's the best possible result. So let's see, what is 1/2? Number before the slash indicates lost SPs, and after the slash lost MP movement points. So I believe that I would take my order of battle for the Russians there, 1.60 DN, so Russian order of battle, 16th Division, 1.60 DN, 1-2. I think that we would slash through the 2. And I think we would put, what am I looking for this one? I think I'll check all this afterwards, but I think that I put a 2 like that on top of the target unit like that. Now let's see what more is meant here. Okay, the rules talk about what happens to units after combat. In other words, combat results. We had 1 and 2 together. 1 strength point, 2 movement points. Together is 3. Down here we look at a withdrawal disorganization table. Morale. The morale of the defending Russian cavalry is 6. In the lower left there, it's 6. So we look at the line for 6, and we see under D we see 3, under W is 2. So D is the total of strength and movement points lost, which is 3 for disorganization. We hit 3, it's kind of a threshold, so the Russian cavalry is disrupted, so I'm flipping it over to its D side, which also has a lower morale. And it also hits the withdrawal. I think withdrawal is for a passive player. Yeah, okay. In our case, he also lost 2 movement points. So I guess the next logical question is, can this disorganized cavalry unit now move? Okay, it's pretty clear that disorganized units do not have their mobility or movement altered, influenced. So now, does the 2 here mean that the unit immediately lost 2 points from its movement allowance, which would leave it with 2 left over? Alright, so 1, it looks like movement point losses or loss of mobility for cavalry is doubled. So maybe instead of 2, I should have put 4 on here. And it's pretty clear the units taking fire from reacting units lose those MP immediately. So that means that the remaining 4 from the cavalry unit's movement allowance of 10 is gone. So it is done. So I guess that's it. I'm not sure when this marker comes off. It probably comes off at the end of the activation. So I'm moving the rest of the Russian formation up here, the skirmishers, the skirmish line, and when the second cavalry skirmisher gets to here, I want to know if this British unit can fire on it. What we have is a elevation change splitting the, I guess, line of sight. So I will try to figure out if this is legal. If it is, the unit will do reaction fire, which is pretty much a exact repeat of the first one. Okay, line of sight is clear along the hex side. They rolled a 4, minus 2 for the modifiers is 2, which results in a 1/1. So I would again take the Russian order of battle chart here. It's det in right there. So I'd mark off a strength point there. And then I have to amend something, I think, now. So let me go back to the first, well, put a 1 on there. Put a 1 on there like that. 1 and 1 is 2, which isn't enough to disorganize, to automatically disorganize that target unit. Back to here. Oh, wait. No, those are doubled for cavalry. So, when they say doubled for cavalry, does that mean that you use the doubled number for withdrawal disorganization? Well, I guess I'll assume not, but I wonder about that. Let's go back to the first one, because I figured out how you use these markers. You actually only go up to the reason why these markers only go up to 4 is because you only use these up to the point where it's disorganized. So when this unit hit disorganization, this marker comes to 3. No, the 2. The 2, which was, I'm not sure about this doubling. But 3 was enough to disorganize it. And the point is that the 3 that disorganized this doesn't count anymore. You take it off. So I do believe that you put a 1 marker on here. And I think the reason is because as you go through the rest of the activation, I think if this unit were able to be fired on again for some reason, if there was a British unit here, wait, well, I'm not sure, but it sounds like during activation they can take more of these losses, and it's every so if it hit its disorganization level again, then it would have a disorganization on a disorganization, which would be a morale check, which would be several other things. I think that's why we're keeping these markers, cumulative losses of SPMPs. But it was correct that when the activation is done, all of these are removed because they don't carry over. But I guess the 1 would stay there. I think that's how it's done so far. Okay.